strap a blanket and a chair. And then also, okay, so strap, blanket, and chair. Also, if you happen to have some balls you can use dryer balls, tennis balls. I've got like these various kind of massage balls. And if you happen to have 2 tennis balls and you can put them in a sock, that would be great. If you don't, you can just use one, and we'll figure that out too. All right, and let's start lying down on our backs, or you know what? No, let's start in a chest opening position on our backs. So that means I'm going to grab my yoga blocks. You don't have to have yoga blocks. You can use 2 pillows or 2 blankets, okay? So I'll show it. I know you guys have seen this a bunch of times too, many of you, but just in case you haven't, with 2 yoga blocks, what I do is I put one on medium height and one on the higher height. And I put it right behind my upper back, okay? And it allows my shoulders to fall back and my chest to lift. And my head feels fully supported. If it didn't, I might lift the block up taller and see if that made my neck feel better. Okay, so you can play around with it. And if you're using blankets and pillows, it's the same idea. I'm just going to fold up my blanket into like a rectangle, and that will be behind my upper back. And then I'll take a second pillow or blanket and put it below my head. And typically you want this one a little taller than the one behind your shoulders. It just depends on how your neck feels. For me, this feels okay, but you might like it a little taller. I'm keeping my knees bent right now. You could also have them straight for the time being. Just do what feels best in your body. I'm widening my feet and I'm letting my knees lean against one another. Just begin by noticing your body on the floor, your body against the props. And then you might allow yourself just to bring to mind something that you may be critical about in your own self, whether you're judging yourself or criticizing yourself lately. Just notice what comes up just as I say that. And we're going to work on self-compassion, right? So whatever you typically maybe give yourself a hard time about or are harsh on yourself, could you allow space in for that you are okay just as you are? You are lovable just as you are. And you don't even need to go into any storyline about that. Just allow that idea to be there for a moment and beginning to notice your breath as you're ready. You might notice in this position that your rib cage being lifted a little bit. You might be able to feel it expanding on your inhale. And then taking a long exhale. Relaxing through your jaw, your throat, and your face. Just a couple more breaths here. Good. Now, if you're on a block, you'll probably just stay on it. And if you're on the blankets, you might need to make an adjustment. I'll show you what we're going to do. So we're going to take away, for most people, you'll take away the pillow behind your head and just interlace your fingers behind your head. Okay. And what we're going to do is inhale and open up the elbows, leaning back. And then as you exhale, think sternum moves down first, elbows wrap around ears, and you're just kind of coming up a little bit, rounding the upper back, and then repeating. Okay, now I'm going to show how to do it with the different props. Okay, so if I were going to stick with using a blanket, for me, I'd want this to be a lot higher and firmer. So I might roll it up more or roll something else. You can use a foam roller for this. It works great if you have one of those, so that I can get more range here, right? Like this. And if I were on a block, I would put it either on the medium or low height. And it's the same thing, right? I actually like it on the medium height for me. Good. So every inhale, kind of stretching back, opening up across the chest a little further, fully supporting your neck. And every exhale, we're trying to get this connection between beginning the exhale first, sternum moving down, elbows come around ears. Couple more. Good, last one. Good. Now, if you're on the blocks, you'll probably want to keep your chin tucked. You can put your hands down and help yourself up. And if you're on the blankets, you could roll to your side. And we're going to come back onto our backs with our knees bent. Can always use head and neck support if it works for you. Feet and knees are hips distance. I'm just going to do first some awareness, or practice some awareness. Move your shoulder blades down your back. And notice how the upper back feels, your jaw, your face, your whole body, and where you're making contact with the floor. And then taking a 3-dimensional breath. So as you inhale, feeling like you could expand in all directions, front, back, and sides. And long exhales. And then we'll start to add in just a pelvic rock or pelvic tilt. So as you inhale, let's press the low back down toward the floor. And as you exhale, rock the pelvis forward, noticing a low back curve or space between your low back and the floor, and continue. Notice if your head might be moving along with you. And then just find the center, find neutral, and take another 3 deep breaths. All right, we're going to come onto our side. You might want to come onto your side that faces me so you can see. And you'll need a couple of props, something below your head and neck, and then something below your top knee. I'm going to use a block, but you could use a blanket rolled up or a pillow. And so I'm going to put my top knee on that prop. Okay. And then I'm going to reach my arms out in front and stack my hands. My bottom leg is straight and my top leg is bent at about 90 degrees on top of this prop. And I'm going to try to stack everything and line everything up. So I'm in a straight line from ear down to hip, down to bottom ankle. And make sure I've got enough head support. Good. And then from here, my hands are stacked, my arms are straight. I'm going to take an inhale. And as you exhale, I'm going to open up this top arm like a book, keeping your knee solid on the prop. And just go as far as you want to go with your arm, opening the chest toward the ceiling. And as you inhale, bringing it back around, closing the book. And let your head just move naturally with this. So the head will probably want to turn as you open the arm and then come back as you close it. And go slowly so you can notice how this feels in your body. Notice how tight or open you might feel through your spine, through your shoulder, through your arm. And then if it feels okay, and if you want to, you could keep the arm open. You might make an adjustment by untucking that bottom shoulder. And notice if you can still breathe fully, that three-dimensional breath. Two more breaths. Good. And now slowly let's close our book. And then just roll onto your back with your knees bent for a moment, noticing the two sides. Good. And now you can roll onto your other side, or you can spin yourself around, whatever feels better to you. Got that top knee on your prop, bottom leg straight. Body lined up, shoulders stacked, hips stacked, arms out in front with your arms straight. And then you can begin whenever you're ready. Take an inhale. And then exhale as you open, trying to keep your knee on your prop. And then inhale as you close, letting your head move naturally. And you might notice this side feels different than the first side. And then if you want to hold it open in the twist, go for it. You might untuck your bottom shoulder, adjust your head and neck, and breathe. Finding that three-dimensional breath if it's possible. And then slowly closing the book. Coming back onto your back. Knees bent. Just inhaling there for a moment. And as you exhale, let's bring your right knee in, and you can squeeze it in with your hands either above or below the knee. And then as you inhale, let's stretch the arms overhead, placing the foot down. And exhale, bring the other knee in. Let's back and forth a few times. Good. Now next time your right leg comes in, let's hold behind the leg if you can reach, or you can also use a strap or just put your arms down, okay? And then inhale, let's stretch that leg up toward the ceiling, and exhale, bend it again a couple of times. Now the next time your leg gets up there, if you want to, you could leave it straight or straight-ish, and just start to circle the ankle slowly. And look at it, noticing if there's any tough places to circle toward, and then circle in the opposite direction. And now let's just bend the knee, place the foot on the floor. Let's straighten out the legs for a moment and notice any difference in the two sides and the sensations. And then let's inhale, bending the right knee, place the foot on the floor, and exhale, let's bring the left knee in, holding behind. And same thing, we'll inhale, straighten the leg up. Exhale, bend, and repeat. Good, and you can leave it up there and start to roll the ankle slowly. Let your breath flow. And then roll it in the opposite direction. Good. And then slowly exhaling as you bend the knee, foot to the floor. Let's straighten out both legs on the floor and notice. And then let's inhale to bend the knees, taking the feet a little wider, the knees a little wider and the arms wide. And then exhale to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Now your choice. You could roll to one side and press yourself up, or you can draw your knees into your belly and rock yourself up. And for this, you'll want those balls we were talking about. Now, if you have two, you can put them in a little sock, or I've got a little mesh bag for mine. And if you only have one, you can just use the one. Or if you have a foam roller, you can use a foam roller, okay? And what we're gonna do is we're gonna put the balls down on the floor, and we're gonna put them right on your thigh, on your quadricep. So we're gonna work on the front of the thigh here, all right? So I'll show you what it'll look like. I'm gonna put it down on there, anywhere, and I'm gonna prop myself up on my forearms a little bit so that I can go back and forth. Now I've got these big, crazy, really baggy pants on today. So in order to deal with that, so they don't get caught, I'm actually gonna put them on my skin instead and do it like this. Okay, so that's always an option too if you're also wearing loose clothing. You might want either leggings on or to go below your shorts if you've got baggy shorts on. And you can explore by moving with your forearms. Okay, now I'm gonna show a few ways to do this, okay, because this might not work for everybody. If you're working it, first you're just kind of warming up the muscle. If that's not working for you, you don't have the right setup, what you can also do is sit like this and use a ball. I took it out of its little bag and I'm just using one ball, and I'm instead rolling the ball with my hand around on the muscle like this. Okay, and there's 4 muscles here. That's why it's called the quad, right? So you can also do it this way, okay? And lastly, I'm going to show you with a roller. I really like doing the quad with a roller. And you know, I'm kind of on both of my quads, but I'm focusing on one side. So I've lifted my knee a little bit on the other side. And this works great if you have a roller. And you can go all the way down toward the kneecap, and you can go all the way up toward the pelvis with the balls or the roller. And then I recommend finding a place that feels a little bit clunky, like a little tight, and pausing and breathing, trying to relax your neck. So breathing slowly, just like we've been doing. Staying there, and if you're on your belly like this, bending and straightening the leg with the pressure in that spot. And so this works with both the roller, and it also works with the balls. It doesn't work when you're seated because you can't do it that way, right? So you can do it any of those options. And if you're seated and rolling the ball with one hand, you just keep doing that and kind of find a spot, explore. Just try to keep that same kind of breath going. So you've got that three-dimensional breath. You're noticing how it feels. You can switch around to a second clunky spot further up. It can also be, you'll notice, I just rolled to the outer part of my quads, the outside, and whoa, is that tight. So I found another spot by not going up or down, but by turning my leg a little bit. And I still prefer this a little more on the roller. It just makes it a little easier for me to get to. Whew. And I'm going to do the same thing, bend and straighten, breathing. Good. And then you could just pause for a moment, either take the ball or roller away and just notice how your two legs feel. Take a breath or two. And then we'll come on to the second side, okay? So choose your tool, choose your setup. Of course, you could use your hands too. It's kind of nice to have something that you're using for the pressure. I'm going to do the same thing, just kind of roll out that second leg. And you might notice a lot, like I noticed, this leg's way less sensation on this leg than my first leg, right? So you're just kind of noticing whatever you notice, keeping tension out of the rest of your body if you can. It's a little hard when you're having to use your arms to roll around. And then you find yourself a spot that feels a little like, ooh, that's a little tense. Remember, you can roll in or out. And if you're on your belly like I am, you could try bending and straightening the leg while you're in that spot. Keep your breath going. Okay, and again, if you're seated and you're doing this with the ball, you could find a spot and just kind of stay there. You could, okay, I've got an idea for the people that are seated. You could tighten and relax the muscle like this. So I'm tightening the muscle against the pressure and then relaxing it. Yeah, so that's another way to do it. And then you might find a second spot, further to the side, inside or outside, and work there as well. Bending and straightening the leg if you're on your belly. We're doing it with your hands. You can also use, so if you don't like a lot of pressure, some people it's just too intense, and if you work with too much pressure, you're just going to create more tension, right? It's like your body will respond in fear and won't relax. So I've got a variety of balls that I use for these kinds of things. Like I have this really squishy one. This is a massage ball, but you can use a toy, just a soft ball that's a toy, and use that, and that might allow your body to relax enough so that things can have a little change. Your nervous system can experience a little bit of change. All right, so when you're ready, let's come off of your massage device and just have a seat. And what you'll want in a moment is you'll want something hard, and you can use a chair, you can use a yoga block or a book to put your leg up on. Okay, and I'm going to be using a yoga block and a ball. I'm just going to use one ball for this, but you could use two. I'm going to have these to the side, and for the moment, I'm not going to use that just yet. I'm going to just touch my kneecaps with both hands. Okay, and we've done this before, just kind of mobilizing the kneecaps. So I've got my thumb on the top of my kneecap and my fingers on the bottom, and I'm just moving my kneecap back and forth. Right, and let yourself breathe, of course. And just notice, does it move? If you've got chronically tight quadriceps, these muscles, these thigh muscles, your kneecap might not, and they can't relax, then your kneecap can't move. okay? Because one of those is attached to the kneecap or attached to what is attached to the kneecap. And then you can also try to move your kneecap side to side as well. Good. All right, and then you can take your ball if you got one, and very gently just start to let the ball move around the terrain of your knee. So I'm going, right now what I'm doing is I'm circling my kneecap here. You could do that. You could also go on the bones that are sort of the inside or the outside. Just go gently. So it's like a gentle kind of exploration of this area around your knee. And just notice whatever you notice. You might go up onto the thigh a little bit, outside of the knee. Might go down. Good. And then pause and notice the two sides, just how they feel. Take a breath in and out. Yeah, mine feel quite different. Okay, and now let's explore the second one. Okay, so yeah, we are exploring the terrain of the knee with the ball. Just letting it kind of move around all the grooves, noticing what sensations you have, not trying to, it's not really like a big massage of sensation here, just experiencing it, of intense sensation, I should say. Go on the outside, you can go on the inside, you can go above and below. Good. And then pause, and you can just set the ball down for a moment and notice. Notice all the sensations. All right, and now we'll use that block that you set up or book, and I'll show you how to do it with a chair too. So for this one, we're taking our ball or whatever you've got, and we're gonna put it on top of a hard surface. And then you take one of your legs and put your calf muscle on top of the ball. So I'm going to start out and have us start out toward the top third of the calf. If your calf were divided into thirds, your lower leg, okay? And just kind of explore, kind of feel. Okay, now let me show you how to do it with a chair. So if you're already set up, just keep exploring there, okay? And you know, you might even be more comfortable doing this on a chair anyway because you get to lie down. And this chair has a cushion, so it doesn't work as well, but it's all right. And I'm doing the same thing here. I could put my other leg up too, but I just want you to be able to see. I'm just kind of exploring, okay? Good. So what you're looking for in your exploration is any tightness. And then once you find it, and you can go way out to the outside, like onto the peroneals here on the outer shin, or you can go on the inside to find a tight spot. Once you find it, you can start flexing and pointing your ankle. Now, if it's super tight, then that might be enough to do right there, and just breathe. If it's so painful, you can tighten and release the muscle a little bit like this. But if you don't have enough intensity, like I want more intensity, I'm going to put my other leg crossed on top for a little extra weight here. And then I get a little more intensity, which I want. You know, don't force yourself, because remember, you don't want to get too tense. You want it just enough pressure. And now I'm going to flex and point and roll the ankle of the leg I'm working on and breathe. And what you're looking for, what you're waiting for, is any kind of shift in the sensations. I'm just leaning back to be more comfortable. And if you don't get any shift because it's so tight or intense, then you just do it for about 30 seconds. You don't stay there forever. Okay, maybe next time you get a shift. Good, I got a shift. I'm gonna move on to the middle third of my leg, of my lower leg. And I'm gonna hunt around, just kind of hunt, oh, there's a spot, until I find a little tight spot. Could be on the inside, could be the outside, could be the meat of the middle. And same thing, I get there, flex and point, or roll the ankle. And if I want more pressure, I put the other leg on. I relax through your jaw and shoulders. And you're waiting for some sort of shift or 30 seconds, whichever comes first. Good, and then we'll shift to the bottom third. Okay, so you find another spot, kind of, it could be down by the Achilles, it could be to the side, inside or out. You just see where you get a spot. It can be hard to stay on there too. Same thing. Moving the ankle, you can stack the other leg if you want to. Keep breathing. You know, this work is a little bit of self-massage work. Can be so helpful for pain. It can be helpful for nervous system regulation. And when we work around the joint, so we're working above the ankle, right, below the knee, and work around all the muscles around it, we might find things that have been chronically holding or just got knotted up. Can start to bring some circulation and hydration into these areas, as well as just mental attention. Good. All right, so let's just put both legs on the floor first, or on the chair if you're using the chair, and notice how it feels on the two sides. What are the different sensations you're experiencing? Take a breath in and out. All right, and then let's do the second leg. So you'll get yourself set up, a chair or books or whatever you do, whatever you got, and then go to the top third of the other calf or lower leg, and hunt around. And you can use a softball in this too, of course, right? I have some people that can't tolerate this at all. It's really intense for them, and the softball is great. Ooh, okay, I found a spot. Once you find a spot, you can tense and relax the muscle, right? And just kind of hang out there. You can move the ankle, right? Or you can stack. Ooh, I don't know if I can stack on this side. Okay, and breathe. You wanna keep your breath smooth, and if your breath can't be smooth, it's a sign to back off a little bit. And you're waiting for any kind of shift to happen. Yep, mine shifted. And once it shifts, or about 30 seconds go by, you can find a second spot, maybe further down the leg somewhere. And once you got it, we just do the same thing. Remembering to keep breathing, to try to let go of tension in other places, neck, shoulders, jaw, any other place, shoulder, I said shoulders. And you're waiting for, or trying to see if there's a shift, or about 30 seconds go by, and then you can find a new spot in maybe the lower leg, the lower leg. And same thing. Good. And then releasing whenever you're ready to. And you can take your balls and just set them to the side. We have other videos in the library using the balls for massage. I've got a couple of hip ones in there, so you can always look those up. Some short ones too. Okay, it can be a great tool. I have these balls are Yoga Tune-Up is the name, the brand name, and there's a whole methodology of using these balls for self-massage. It's awesome, and the balls are really great. I love them. Yoga Tune-Up, you can find them online. All right, we're gonna come onto hands and knees, and if you want to pad your knees, go for it, okay? And once you get there, once you get settled in your tabletop position, you can just move through some cats and cows. Any way you want to breathe is fine. Noticing how your spine feels and anything else you might notice. And then let's focus on feeling this motion in your upper back region. So as you inhale, really allowing the chest to drop if it will. And as you exhale and round, really feeling that upper back rounding toward the ceiling and noticing how that feels. Good. Now from here, let's just come to a regular tabletop, and then we're going to walk our hands back